This section breaks my heart. Just breaks my heart. Right here. Oh. What's up, you goobers? Mark with Kardavox Academy here. Thank you for hanging out with me on this fine day. I appreciate you taking time. Now today, I'm pretty excited because we're checking out a song by a band called Fractal Universe. The song is called A Clockwork Expectation, and this band has a good discography. This is a new single coming up from their new album, and I'm really excited to check it out. And as an additional treat, I have Vince, the singer / guitar player / saxophone player of the band, with me, and he's going to jump on here in a second. But if you're new to the channel, what we do is we take the reaction format, we break it down, we try to make it as educational as possible so you walk away learning something. We try to have fun as well. If you like the content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot. And we do have a Patreon where you can come check it out, hang out, do community events, vote on monthly videos, and generally have an all-around good time. So without further ado, we've got Vince here. Vince, say hello.
Hello.
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. It's cool to have you here. How you doing? How are things over in France, man?
Well, I'm good, but things over in France are pretty bad at the moment. We are locked down and everything, but trying to make the best out of it.
Yeah. Now, are you doing? That's a really good point. You know, because as a lot of us know, being musicians, it's lockdown's kind of weird because it's like, well, we can't do that thing we love to do, but we have a lot of time to create. How are you using a lot of that time that you have there?
Well, actually, we recorded our whole new record during the lockdown last year, so we are managing to be quite productive despite all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
wow.
Now I've even started composing, and yeah, things have to go on, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Well, y'all are prolific. Well, anything I should know about A Clockwork Expectation before we jump into it? I'm pretty excited. I don't really know what to expect, but maybe you could set a groundwork for us.
Well, it's the first single from our upcoming record, The Impossible Horizon. And basically, yeah, we wanted it to be the first single because it's very diverse and it kind of brings up a new color, a new atmosphere about the band. There's a lot of stuff going on vocally, and there's also a little bit of saxophone inside of it. So yeah, hope you're going to like it.
All right. Hell yeah. Well, let's just go ahead. Let's get into it. Everybody, A Clockwork Expectation, Fractal Universe. Here we go. Okay, that seems like a pretty good place to take a quick pause. So, when you, bro, when you said there's a lot going on there, you were not kidding. Like, there is, a lot of times we listen to a lot of deathcore on this channel, and I think a lot of times people forget that there's metal that's not deathcore, and this is definitely not deathcore. I'm hearing awesome polyrhythms. I'm hearing really cool vocal production. I'm going to ask you about that here in a second. And I just want to take a shout out for that bass tone. Kind of clanky, but not like intrusive, creating like a little bit of dissonance here and there, but in a very good way. So shout out to your bassist and their bass tone. I love that. Yeah, so talk to me about your vocal production there. It started, I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting, just listening to the song, I was expecting you to open with screams, right? But you opened with kind of like a lighter, sort of forward placed, not a little bit of a breathy voice, and it sounded really pretty, and surprisingly it worked with what was going on. Talk to me about that choice that you made and the kind of production you put on those vocals there, because it sounded awesome. It sounded very cool.
Well, thank you. Actually, well, the music kind of switches from this heavy part into something very atmospheric and soft. You have some nice arpeggios and everything. So I think the vocals really should have complemented that. And yeah, as you said, there's this voice coming in with a lot of air, really breathy. And yeah, there's also a lot of vocal harmonies going on, which makes it very rich, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, I could hear that harmony going on, and I totally agree. You know, I think had you gone with the screams that I was expecting, it wouldn't have worked quite as well. So I'm glad that you made the choice that you did. What made you want to use that like lighter, airier tone versus just a quieter, more full closure tone? Is it just kind of what felt right in the moment, or did you have like a? I know that sometimes as a musician you like have these deep, very calculated decisions, and then other times you're like, I don't know, it just sounded right. What was that kind of like for you?
It's more of a calculated decision, I think. Because yeah, as I said, the music is very, very light. In that particular instance, you have nice arpeggios, something very open. And I felt like the voice really needed to complement that perfectly. And yeah, adding a lot of air, removing all the low resonance really felt natural to me in that case.
Perfect. Well, I agree. It sounds awesome. Let's go back a little bit because I can tell we're going to get some sort of transition here. Let's go back to 45 seconds. Let's do that. Whoa. Dude. That was insanely cool. That was so sick. What? Oh man, I loved that. I was not expecting that either. I heard a couple vocal layers in there as well. Just tell me about that section, because I'm hearing it for this first time and I'm just kind of soaking it in. Loved the polyrhythmic vibe of it. Loved like the weird time signature you were in. Now, yeah, go ahead. I could talk about it forever, but tell me about it, my good sir.
Yeah, basically on this part, all the instruments are lining up on one rhythm. And yeah, in that case, the vocals are really like a drum following every snare hit, in the beginning.
Yeah.
And as you said, there's a lot of layers. There's like some four chords vocals, ton, pa, that kind of stuff. And then again, some clean vocals on top of that with a lot of layers going all the way up and down from my register, creating this kind of almost like a vocoder vibe, I think.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if a vocoder was being used, but this is all just vocal layers, right?
Yeah, this is all just vocal layers.
That is super cool. I want to listen to that again, and then we're going to let the song keep playing, because that was nuts. Let's go back to 49, I think. Yeah. Nice. Man, this song is so good. Like, sometimes, moment of transparency. Sometimes when I do these videos, it's not like my cup of tea, but I always work hard to find value in it because this is somebody's art and they love it, and there's always some value. But this song is dope. Like, this song is so cool. One thing I'm appreciating about you as a vocalist right now, number one, is that you're singing and playing guitar at the same time. Bro, I can't. Like, it's not happening. But maybe this is just, from doing both of those things, I love how you are working with your guitar. You give a little pause when you do these runs up and down the neck. You know, you're really complimenting each other. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but one of my biggest pet peeves is when I listen to a song and the vocalist just does not like give the song time to breathe here and there or let other things shine. And you're really letting that dynamic work really well. I want to ask you a little bit, with your singing here, because I can hear that there's a wide range in these vocal layers, and you sound in control of every place. Do you have any previous vocal training, or are you self-taught? Did you do any choir or work with any voice coaches, or were you someone who just like walked around the house and sang a lot?
Yeah, I walked around the house and sang a lot. Basically, I never had the proper vocal training. I took some lessons at some point, but never anything really, really serious. So I had to figure out a lot by myself. And I started mostly with screaming first, with like a compression fry kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then slowly moved to the clean singing stuff.
As we do. As we do, yeah. No, I mean, it sounds really great. You're also doing these at each transition. Obviously I don't know the melody, but you're doing like a little bit more of a gritty belt, bum, 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 I think are the notes that you're hitting, but maybe an octave higher. With that, are you going for more of just like a high place, like a glottal compression grit on there? What would you say about how you're going about that? Because it's a little bit farther back in the mix, and I'd love to hear your description of it.
Yeah, basically that's the kind of vocals I use mostly on my choruses. Well, it's not the case in that one, but in the choruses I use that kind of gritty, clean vocals. And yeah, it's basically just my chest voice with adding a little bit of fry compression over it, and to make it like saturate and feel really heavy. So
nice.
And then I tried over the years to work on my tone because it used to sound very, very dark. And I worked on opening all my face muscles and everything to make a little bit brighter of a sound come out. But still.
Yeah, I think your bright tone that you've gone for here is exactly what's needed, because like you have said, this song has so much going on. And so if you were sitting in those lower tones, you might kind of be stuck in with the instruments versus out in front. Now, a lot of that's, of course, like mixing and things. But you're complimenting what's going on here. And anyway, we should keep going, but I'm really digging this. Let's go back a little bit. Right there. Yeah. Oh shit, something's about to go down. Yes! Dude. I appreciate how much work you put into this. First of all, like that false chord, like, oh, that you did to kind of transition the section was really cool. But I love how when your screams came in, now totally correct me if I'm wrong, I'm hearing this for the first time, but I heard a very low and then almost like a more pitched mid behind it. And then you had like this swell of clean vocals come in the back. And then we had almost like more of like a gritty belting. Like, honestly, the first person I thought of was kind of like a Joe Duplantier, like with his like sort of tonal screaming. That was very cool. And I think that's a lot of nuance that people who maybe aren't into metal or are listening to different genres of metal for the first time don't notice, but a lot of people do. A lot of people notice it, but there was a lot of movement. And then we brought in like this little hand drum. It's like every, so often we were getting this new layer. I kind of want to listen to it again just to kind of process it a little bit. And then I would love your breakdown of it, because there's so much vocally going on here. It's so cool. I think this puts us back where we need to be. Oh, not far enough. How long was this section?
Pretty long.
Pretty long.
Yeah.
God, it was so good though. Holy crap. Here we go. Nice. I love how that hand drum kind of picks up with the snare. Like at the beginning, we have that snare like kind of rolling, and then like the hand drum kind of picks it up. I'm going to shut up because I could just keep talking. Talk to me about this section, because holy crap, it is so cool. It is so cool. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's my favorite section of the song too. Actually, it's a long build-up from that guitar alone playing the melody, and then everything kicks in, and then it keeps building up and up with more and more layers kicking in. So yeah, in terms of vocals, it starts with just like compression fry, doubled high and low, which gives it a really mean kind of vibe, which I love to do in that kind of sections. And then, you mentioned it, when the whole harmony from the vocals kicks in, the lead vocals are doing that kind of, exactly Gojira, Joe Duplantier kind of vocals with a lot of grit, but still a little bit of pitch, which makes it very epic, I think.
Yeah, it sounds so cool. Now, one thing that I would be very interested in hearing from you is, this term vocal fry, I have found changes so much depending on who you're talking to and who they listen to, right? So a lot of I've talked with a lot of people who would say, your vocals at the beginning, and even would classify like those like pitched like gritty screams like the Joe Duplantier-esque screams both as fry. But do you feel like there's something different? Do they feel different in your vocal anatomy when you're doing them? Do they feel very similar? To me, they feel kind of different, but what are your thoughts? I'm always interested when I talk to vocalists, like, what do you call fry? Because oftentimes it varies across the board.
Well, to me, these two vocal styles don't feel that different from each other, actually. It's I can easily add like this little pitch into my regular growl, so I think the two can blend into each other quite naturally. So I would say, in terms of the technique I use, they're pretty similar.
Okay, cool. Well, that makes a lot of sense too. Now, when you're talking about adding pitch, right? How soon were you able to do that when you first started learning to scream? Because a lot of times people when they scream, they have pitch in their voice, and that makes the scream very uncomfortable. But as shown here, you can very much add phonation, true chord phonation, the sound of your actual voice underneath your distortion very healthfully. Like, this is all very well controlled. Like, there's nothing going on bad here at all. Were you able to kind of do that from the beginning, or was it something that you had to kind of like learn to balance out over time?
No, I didn't really get it from the beginning. Actually, it was kind of like starting from both extremes. You have clean vocals on one side and then the complete distorted vocals on the other side. And then I tried working a little bit on getting a little bit of grit on my clean vocals and a little bit of pitch into my distorted vocals. And the two ended up melting together after some point. But yeah, it took some time.
Well, that's perfect. That's exactly how me and many other people, not just me, suggest that people do it is start at these extremes, right? I've actually had students before, like when I teach them false chord, they're like, well, wait a minute, Mark, you're saying we shouldn't have any pitch under it, but I've heard your music and you put pitch under it. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. Hold on. Hold on. Let me explain myself. Well, this is really cool. I almost feel bad like pausing this so much because this song is like such a work all the way through, but I do want to talk about it. So let's go back maybe about 5 seconds here and keep going. You said this is a buildup. I'm really excited to see where this goes. Yes. Did I hear a little throat singing back there?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, dude, that's so cool. That's awesome. So I'm going to be real. I'm just going to be 100% transparent with you. This is one of my favorite songs that I've done on the channel for a while. Just because it's very much my style, what I'm into listening to. Well, not my style. We don't play music like this at all. But my style is in what I like to listen to. I have a question for you. So the timbre of your saxophone, like that, the saxophone brass sound, and the tone that the lead guitarist used for that solo really complement each other. They sound very similar. Was that intentional, or is that just his normal lead tone that he uses and it happened to work out?
Well, I don't know. I think I wrote the saxophone solo first, and maybe he drew inspiration from it to write this. But I think I know what you mean exactly. It complements each other really well, and but I think he might have drawn inspiration from the saxophone to do his guitar afterwards.
It sounds like he did. God, there was so much going on there. Like that was wild. Talk to me about the throat singing that you did at the end. You put it really, really, really far back, but I heard a couple layers. Tell me about that. That's super fascinating.
Actually, that's the only vocals on the record that I didn't do myself. It was our guitar player. Sorry to disappoint. Really? Yeah.
Hey, no, that's okay. Well, good job, guitar player. There are a lot of different types of throat singing. Now, I'm not a throat singing expert, right? Mm-hmm. But did he mention to you like what kind of throat singing he was doing? Maybe not.
Not really. But I think I kind of got what he was doing, like ooh, something like that. But I can't get it quite as stable as he does.
Yeah, it's a trick to get down. I kind of want to listen from the saxophone solo again because honestly, it's just very cool and I think worth another listen. Anything you want to point out? Wow, that's a beautiful sax, dude. Look at those floral patterns on it. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's a really cool sax. Not that I know anything about saxophones, but is there anything that you want to point out about the outro of this song from the saxophone solo that you'd like us to focus on, that we can look for as we listen to it again? Because like that's always the trick with doing these videos. When I hear it for the first time, I'm kind of just like, and then it's like, hey Mark, have detailed feedback, and I'm like, I got kind of lost in that. So yeah, what are some things that maybe we should listen for that you'd like to point out?
I'd say this whole section that we're going to listen back is a little bit of a recapitulation of everything that has happened before. You have the opening riff that serves as a background for the saxophone solo. Then you have the verse that serves as a background for the guitar solo. Then you have the final chorus. Then you have a section with the twin guitar solo stuff, which has the harmony from the chorus again. And then the outro, the brutal palm muted riffing, is kind of the recapitulation of everything. You have the main theme that we heard in all these pauses in the song. And you have the rhythm from the da, 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 da part that we had before in the song, but played a little bit differently. So yeah, this really this very last section kind of sums up different elements from the song. Let's see if you can recognize them.
All right, I will accept your challenge. Now I have to, my DSLR is at 28 minutes, so I got to restart the video. We're fine. We don't have to do anything. So, hey, everybody, I had to reset my camera. We're going to listen to this outro. Just excellent musicianship all around. This is nuts. I also love the visual aesthetic here, how like we switched to these like highlighted edges and like the UV light just kind of in there as flavor. Let's go. Yeah. Oh. Dude, that is just so sick. Yeah, I hear those elements that you're talking about. I honestly think like as an outside listener, I'd probably have to listen to this song like 4 or 5 more times to really pick apart like all the references you're making. But I'm hearing what you're talking about, like the snare kind of coming back on those like more like that brutal chug section. A lot of the elements coming back, which are excellent. There's just a lot of good musicianship here. I'm sitting over here and I'm like, damn. I should have done more than just vocals. I'm messed up, you know? Because other than the intro to one Opeth song, I can't play crap on a guitar, man. Nothing. Are you self-taught on guitar as well? And saxophone. Are you self-taught on those? Did you have instruction on those as well?
On guitar, I had quite a bit of instruction, yeah. I learned with Christian Münzner from Obscura. I took Skype lessons with him a while back, and then I went also to music college and that kind of stuff, so I'm pretty much knowing my stuff on the guitar. As for the saxophone, I've only been playing it for 1.5 years now. So,
what?
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild. So I actually wanted to ask you a little bit about the saxophone here as well. I know that we keep going back and listening, but so obviously saxophone, a lot of breath involved in that instrument, right? I wanted to ask you about this little section where you do like these little flutters. Now, you're going to have to forgive me. I don't know anything about playing saxophone. But I wanted to ask you, like lot of breath support. Does it feel similar to you, the way that you support your breath for playing the saxophone? Does it feel similar to you to the way that you support your breath for, letting out some of these louder screams or these grittier belts, these more extreme vocal styles that we're hearing at this part of the song? Is it comparable, or do you support in a different way?
Yeah, definitely. It's really the same breathing technique and support technique involved. So actually, I've made a lot of progress in my vocal technique since I'm playing the saxophone, and vice versa. Each helped out the other, I think. So
interesting. Yeah, I think so. Let me find this saxophone solo again, and then we can probably start wrapping it up here. I think right here. Ooh, yeah, because I remember this intense face. Yeah, here we go. Those flutters right there.
Yeah.
Those flutters. Are you changing the way that you're supporting your breath? Are you changing your breath movement while you're doing those? Because it sounds like you're easing back a little bit from the instrument and then leaning back onto it.
Yeah, it's kind of the same way you would do a crescendo on vocals, actually, on the saxophone. You kind of hold back the air and then let it go into the instrument more and more.
That is so sick. And the ability to crescendo like a fry vocal or even like a false chord vocal, these high gritty belts, I think that is an extremely important skill that any metal vocalist needs in their toolkit. So very cool. Let's listen to this whole thing, and I promise I won't pause it. I had to ask about that. This section breaks my heart. Just breaks my heart. Right here. I just decided to listen to the whole outro again. My apologies. But I feel like I had one more question for you that I was thinking of, but the song itself keeps oh yeah. So obviously, you've toured plenty before. We were talking about that a little bit before we started recording. And I'm always just kind of curious, what sort of like, how much time and attention do you give to warming up, and then how do you handle your voice after a performance? Because everything sounds really healthy here, right? I'm not hearing anything that sounds concerning, but do you still give yourself a little bit of a vocal rest after you play, or what do you do differently to take care of your vocal health when you're on a tour, when you're playing a lot of shows consecutively?
Well, as for the warm-up, I think it's mostly like getting the body ready, which I try to like jump a little bit, walk around the place so that I'm really physically into the stuff. And I don't necessarily do vocal exercises before a show, only like a few minutes when I have the time. But yeah, it's mostly getting the body ready. And for after the show, usually, I try to stay and relax a little bit, not to talk too loud, too much for like 1 hour after the show, just to have some time to lay down a little bit.
Yeah.
But actually on the last tour we did right before the pandemic with Obscura, I didn't have any problems with my voice, although I had never done a tour like that, so I didn't really know what to expect, if my voice would really be wary or something, but no, it turned out to be fine, so pretty good.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that just listening to your voice here and hearing what you said about opening up the muscles in the back of the mouth and relaxing the throat is a large reason why, you know, along with a lot of practice, you were able to get through that tour. And, you know, other than just being smart, there wasn't anything crazy that you had to do. Well, listen, we could talk about this for a very long time. But I highly recommend anybody who has made it this far in the video, go check out the song Uninterrupted, which I'm going to do. But I appreciate your patience, you know, with listening, to us talk kabits about this single. Vince, anything you want to leave us with? Any shout outs, any plugs, any release dates, anything at all that you want to mention about you and your band before we go ahead and wrap up this video here?
Yeah, so a new record, The Impossible Horizon, is going to drop on June 25th. Pre-orders are up now, so feel free to get your copy. And hopefully we're going to meet on some tour whenever that's going to be possible. And yeah, I hope you like the song.
I will definitely. I'm gonna be real. I am definitely going to be pre-ordering because this is sick. I'm gonna be honest, man. Lately, outside of work, I haven't been listening to a lot of metal just because I've kind of been a little bogged down with a lot of it. But like, I'm definitely gonna be digging into y'all's discography a little bit more than I have previously. But anyways, to all of you, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you enjoy the content, again, like, share, and subscribe. Means a lot, helps a lot. Check out our Patreon. And as always, many thanks, much love. We're out.